Hello and welcome back to another episode of Mystery Red Reads. I am your host, Mystery Red, and this is my disclaimer. This beta read in Concrete is at the author's request. This video is for learning purposes. Today we're doing a beta read and Concrete of a piece of original fiction. We are taking a second look at Chapter 1 of, Remains for Ladybug88, which I just call Ladybug. Okay, so we are taking a second look. I guess she's done some revisions. Okay. It's a carpool week, and I'm not in carpool yet, but I'm trying to, it's harder for me to squeeze in reads when we have carpool week. So I've got to pull it together. I'm going to get in here and focus, and we're going to get started. Chapter 1. I hated driving late at night. The sky so black it obscured the North Shore mountains, despite the crescent sliver of moon and the harbor tower. Okay. Well, we could just be warming up my mouth. We could just be warming up. I do have a reader thought in the back of my head that the line might be long. Now, I'm going to give it a second go. Yeah, I'm going to give it a second ago. I'm going to take a quick swig of water here, and we're going to try this again. I hated driving late at night. The sky so black it obscured the North Shore mountains, despite the crescent sliver of moon and the harbor tower lit in purple. But tonight, the darkness felt heavier. The light turned red, and my mind urged it green. My fingers drummed on the steering wheel, as though something inside me sensed tonight would be my last time ever seeing Felicia. After 16 hours apart, I mistook my urgency for my longing to see her. I'm pausing already, and not for any bad reason, but my mind is immediately going, oh, foreshadowing. The good news is it's been a while since I read the first version of this, so it'll be kind of like a refresher. So we do have some kind of it'll be a little, it'll basically be like a refresher. As I read it, I'll remember, but, I've read a lot. So, okay. So I'm thinking foreshadowing. That's nothing bad. I'm just noting it. And the first line was a little bit long. I got it right the second time. I think I just needed to warm up a little bit. So it could have been on me. I'm not a huge fan of my fingers of starting a sentence with but I like the action. I wonder how many of the things I said the first time I'm going to repeat. I don't know. I wonder if I'll have the same or different, that's probably an interesting comparison right there. You guys have fun with that. And by the way, I will include a link to my other reads for Ladybug for this story in the description. Okay. After 16 hours apart, I mistook my urgency for my longing to see her. Mistook my urgency to get there. The urgency to get there. Mistook it? What? Okay. After 16 hours apart, I mistook my urgency for my longing to see her. All right, so she's in a hurry to get there because she has been away from her for 16 hours and she can't wait to get there to see her. But, okay. Oh, I'm wondering about this. Okay, so she's saying she mistook her urgency, and that is the part where I'm hung up. Mistook it for longing to see Felicia in comparison to what? Like, what else could it have been? My fingers drummed on the steering wheel as though something inside me sensed tonight would be my last time ever seeing Felicia. I'm not sure about this part right here. Mistook my urgency. Part of me is okay, I'm stuck on that part. We're going to keep going. I parked behind the building and ran up 2 stairs at a time all the way to her door, elated to find it ajar. Wait, what? Wait, what? Hold the phone. She's happy to find the door open. I mean, wait, we're going to keep reading and it's going to be explained. I know it is, but just for a second, I guess, honestly, if I saw, okay, if I get to someone's door and it's kind of open, if that's normal for them and means that it's an indication that they're home, then I might feel elated. If it's not, I'd be like, everything okay in there? We're gonna note that those are reader thoughts. Those are just reader thoughts. We're gonna keep going. Behind it, wait a minute. Behind it, her smile of perfect teeth and adorable dimples gave me solace. So wait, Felicia's behind the door. Felicia's behind the door. She didn't knock on it. She ran to the door, and right there, almost waiting for her, is Felicia. Okay, we're going to roll with this. Behind it, her smile of perfect teeth and adorable dimples gave me solace, and the warmth of her embrace acted as a balm for my weariness. Our lips touched and our tongues connected, hers tasting like red wine. With the door locked, she pulled me toward the turquoise love seat. I lit us some candles. Isn't it romantic? Felicia pointed to the row of red tea lights flickering on the coffee table, a delicious fruity scent rising from them. Nice, I mumbled, too busy delighting in the suppleness of her skin through the open collar of her bathrobe to give a proper answer. She asked, will people be drinking at your office party tomorrow? What? Dazed from excruciating hours spent facing double computer screens, I cringed at the mention of work. You're finally going to introduce me as your girlfriend, right? My breath caught and my shoulders ached. As our gazes met, the interrogation in her beautifully mismatched eyes, one blue and the other green, shifted into bitter disappointment. You haven't told people at work yet. You know I like to keep my life private, especially as the only woman on my team. Have you at least told your parents? Her eyebrows raised and her forehead pleated. Do they know we're a couple now? I'm sure they do. I ran my fingertips across the corduroy ridges of the love seat cushion underneath my legs, seeking the comfort of the regular texture. You and I are always together. They're not stupid. Have you ever talked about it with them? What for? They're obviously accepted it, or they would have said something. She sighed. Fine, Cecilia, but why don't you at least tell your coworkers? Her not calling me Cece showed her upset. Okay, I'm pausing. It's reading well, so I can keep reading it, but I'm having all these reader thoughts, probably writer thoughts more or less. I'm like, ooh, I like this. Ooh, I like that. And I'm not saying it because I keep reading because it's reading well. But at the same time, I kind of want to point them out. So I don't want to go too far or I might forget. So I'm going to notice some little details that I liked. Let's see. I parked behind the building and ran up 2 stairs at a time, all the way to her door, elated to find it ajar. Behind it, her smile of perfect teeth and adorable dimples gave me solace. I love how you're painting the picture of Felicia with her teeth and her smile, but then later on down here, you describe her beautifully mismatched eyes. So it's a very distinct trait. So, and then I like how you show her emotions with her eyebrows raised and her forehead pleated. And I like the corduroy ridges of the love seat cushion because it's the texture. It's a distraction. And I like that. I like texture in writing. And let's see. My breath caught, my shoulders ached. I've got a sensation. Just very good. Very, very good. And I wanted to notice all this. And I love how she notices that she called her Cecilia, which is a great way to work in very nicely, working in your character's name in your point of view character's name without being telling. It's worked beautifully into the dialogue. And I like how she noticed at the same time, you get to take advantage of the opportunity that she called her by her full name, not her nickname, showing her feelings at the same time. Very good. So lots to like here. I also like the candles and the scent to them. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Give or take on the turquoise love seat, it's notable. It adds color, which I honestly, if you have the turquoise and the red, that kind of shows, I think, more of Felicia's personality and her preferences for bright, bold colors, which kind of seems to fit there. So this is working for me. I'm going to find my spot again. The other side effect of pausing. All right, so she's keeping her life private. We're And we're seeing the disagreement here between telling. So it's obvious that Cecilia was excited to get to Felicia. She couldn't wait to get home to her. So she's really happy with their relationship. They seem to have a happy relationship with this one caveat, this one problem they're facing. Okay. Okay, we're going to start right here. She sighed. Fine, Cecilia, but why don't you at least tell your coworkers? Her not calling me, Cece, showed her upset. The candle flames flickered, and I imagined the awkwardness of the moment. Not that anyone would ask, but would I feel like I owed them an explanation? I promise I will soon. How much more time do you need? Felicia frowned. We've been together for 2 years. 26 months. The starburst crystal clock on the wall showed minutes past midnight, and the late hour compounded my exhaustion. Can we talk about this tomorrow? I reached for her hands, but she drew them away. You're not sure about me. I can see it in your eyes. It's not you I'm not sure about, I swear. It's myself. If I come out now, I'll have to live with it forever. You see, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, but you're not sure about me. It's not like that. I didn't know what I wanted to do next year, let alone for the rest of my life. Telling Felicia that would crush her heart, though, and I couldn't lie to her either. My eyes stung, and I squeezed the bridge of my nose. She snatched her bathrobe close, her lips in a straight line, and her eyes reduced to slits. Anything I said now would sound wrong and hurtful, and I'd better give us some time and space. I should go. You're going to leave, just like that. I stroked Felicia's silky chestnut brown hair. But if you go now, don't come back. Ever. When I tried to take her hands again, she pushed mine away. So I stood, bent over, and kissed the top of her head. I'm sorry. I dawdled to the door, hoping she would ask me to stay. But she didn't. It pained me to abandon her like that, but I had done enough damage for the night. Call me later. Her face buried in her hands, she didn't respond, so I opened the door and closed it behind me. A heaviness radiating from my... I messed that up, and it's bothering me. A heaviness radiating from my chest, I stumbled to my studio apartment next door. Piece by piece, I stripped down to my underwear, tumbled onto my futon, and cried alone in the dark. When I awoke, light streamed in through the window, and the plastic dollar store clock on the wall showed 7:15. Still in time to catch Felicia before she left for class. I grabbed my phone from the shelf and texted her, sorry about last night. Then I got up, pulled on socks and a sweatshirt, and set the kettle to boil. At 7, I knocked on her door, hoping she would open up and pull me in, and if she didn't, to at least get a smile and a chance to try again. But she never answered. Was Felicia mad at me? Was she okay? Around noon, I called her cell phone, and after several weeks, I'm pausing. So, all of this is working for me. But that Cecilia thinks, was Felicia mad at me? Was she okay? I'm like, as a reader, I'm like, obviously, she told you if you left, never to come back. So she sure as heck ain't happy with you. And you think she's just going to let it go just like that? You just expect her. I mean, in the past, I'm wondering about the relationship in the past. Has she done stuff like this before where she's like, these are my feelings, these are my concerns. And Cecilia's like, I'm not ready. I'll get around to it. And Felicia's like, I need you to commit, and I'm questioning Cecilia right there. I'm kind of like frustrated with her that she's like, was she mad at me? Is she okay? And I'm just like, really? Yes, she's mad at you, obviously. So, I mean, at this point, I know what comes next because I've read it before, but at this point, I'm mad at Cecilia. I'm like mad. I'm frustrated. Okay, we're going to keep going. Around noon, I called her cell phone, and after several rings, her recorded greeting played, instructing me to leave a message and she would get back to me. I left at least 5 and sent her several texts, but she never answered them. I had really messed things up, hadn't I? Would she ever forgive me? Now we go. Here we go. Now she's feeling it. And as far as things go so far, this wouldn't seem like... I wonder if we should have so many questions. Maybe it should be more like, I have really messed things up. period. And maybe there's a feeling inside of Cecilia. Let me see if there's a visceral feeling inside of her. Hang on. Around noon, I called her phone, and after several rings, her recorded greeting played, instructing me to leave a message and she would get back to me. I left at least 5 and sent her several texts, but she never answered them. I had really messed up this time. Then would she ever forgive me? I kind of want this to be a statement in lieu of a question. Like, because we don't want to have like, there's 2 questions here. It almost feels leading when we come down here and we've got 2 more questions. So yeah, that there's a little bit of that feeling that I'm going to take note of. I'm trying to think, at least 5 center. Okay. I really messed up. Will she ever forgive me? In the evening, while I stood knocking on her door again and again and again, a woman in a brown coat and matching boots climbed the stairs and stood, as though frozen, lips apart, glaring at me. Hi, I'm Cecilia in 302. I pointed to my apartment door. The woman blinked. Hi, I'm Denise. She dug into a purse as she walked by me and reached the door to unit 304, just past Felicia's. She unlocked and entered. Unlocked it. Do we need an it right here? I'm wondering. And then, okay, we've got the action in here, and I kind of wonder if we could tuck in an internal sensation. I had thought that for a second, and then I read on, and I'm still wanting it. So, what does it feel like? Is the panic building inside? Here's the thing. Her actions suggest panic building, okay? Panic's building. And here she's thinking she's messed up. I don't know. I'm assuming everyone has experienced the sensation of having a fight with someone that they're in a relationship with, and that worry that they'll be done with you. You know, like that you're never going to get them back, that you're never going to work it out, and what that terrible feeling is inside you. You know, like does your heart ache? Literally, does your chest hurt? Do you find yourself squeezing your fingernails into your palms? Do you find yourself wringing your hands? Do you find yourself picking at something? Do you find yourself holding your breath and like shifting about? You know, like, do you find yourself uneasy? I want a sensation of some sort of how it feels inside, so that if I get a visceral sensation up here as this goes, because her anxiety is building. So I'm wanting to feel what she feels. I can get it from her thoughts. And I think if we tuck a visceral sensation somewhere in here, let me see where maybe somewhere in up here between 1. Oh, I had really messed things up. And then like a sensation. What can we say? I mean, I don't want to do it for you because, you know, I don't want to mess with anybody's voice. And so sometimes I offer suggestions, and then sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's going to fit their voice. So just think about what Cecilia feels inside at this point in this moment. Keep it brief and tuck it in. And you're going to give that internal sensation. And that's slowly going to build here, because now you're outside knocking on somebody's door. Your mind is starting to wander inside. Something's not right here. Okay. I know you're mad, but you need to, let your thoughts go a little bit. I know she's mad, but I just want, at this point, I just want to know that she's okay. This is getting really strange. My thoughts are starting to swirl, and my heart is starting to pound. My knuckles hurt as I'm knocking on the door. So give some sensation there, because you've got this great action that is showing the build, and I just kind of want a visceral sensation to go with it. In the evening, while I stood knocking on her door again and again and again, a woman in a brown coat and matching boots climbed the stairs and stood, as though frozen, lips apart, glaring at me. Hi, I'm Cecilia in 302. I pointed to my apartment door. The woman blinked. Hi, I'm Denise. She dug into a purse as she walked by me and reached the door to unit 304 just past Felicia's. She unlocked and entered. I left Felicia another voicemail, then texted one of her classmates, and he replied she hadn't shown up for class. I spent the next hour staring at my phone, willing the device to beep or ring. I even forgot about my office event until a coworker texted me. So yeah, okay, so I've got Cecilia's actions and I'm with her. Okay, I'm with the actions. They're totally spot on and appropriate, but our thoughts as this situation progresses should start to kind of spiral. Like they honestly, they could start out rational up here, and as you go on, they can kind of start to get a little bit wild, even though it turns out that it'll end up being appropriate and spot on. But she doesn't know that right now. You kind of have like disbelief and hope, and you're like, okay, she didn't show up for class. That you could have Cecilia internalize. Watch. I left Felicia another voicemail, then texted one of her classmates, and he replied she hadn't shown up for class. At this point, my heart clenched. That is not normal. That is not normal for her. Something is wrong. I spent the next hour staring at my phone, willing the device to beep or ring. Please be okay. Please be okay. I even forgot about my office event until a coworker texted me. See how I tucked in just very short thoughts and a sensation, like, okay, I've had an internal sensation, and then I'm having a thought and I'm starting to worry, that something's wrong. So how I kind of tucked it in here and there, and that lent to all of the action that you've got laid out beautifully. Kelvin, April 14th, 2017, 19:22. Hey, where are you? I texted back. Sorry, I won't be able to make it. Have fun on my behalf. His response didn't take long. Is everything okay? I typed, yeah, nothing major. Then I backspaced over the text and replaced it with Felicia can't make it. I stared at the unsent message for a few seconds before hitting send. He replied, nothing wrong with going stag. We can pretend we're each other's plus ones. For Kelvin's sake, I agreed. Okay, so I kind of want to know. She's supposed to go with Kelvin. I'm wondering her opinion of Kelvin. Like, what does she think of him? Is this like her work husband? Is he her friend? Is he just an acquaintance? I might still get that as I read on, but I'm like, is he the kind of person she confides in? What does she think herself as she texted, hey, where are you? Sorry, I won't be able to make it. Have fun on my behalf. Does she maybe think in her head, I don't have time for this right now, or there's no way I can do social events right now. I need to get to the bottom of this. Or what is her internal thought? And it doesn't have to be long. It's just like very short. Sometimes one or two words is all you need just to keep us into what Cecilia feels. We want to stay with what she feels. Now, it's also nice and tightly written right here, like the back and forth. So maybe she doesn't have the internal thought, or maybe she pauses before she texted back. Right here. So before she texts back, she could internalize, oh, the party. I forgot all about the party. And then whatever she thinks of Kelvin as to because how you address someone largely ties back to what you think about them and what your relationship is with them. So I can't come up with an appropriate response because I don't actually know how she feels about Kelvin, or what her relationship is with him. I don't know how superficial or how in-depth it is. But here you could have internal thought, oh no, I totally forgot about the thing. Darn it. I texted back, sorry, won't be able to make it. Have fun on my behalf. His response didn't take long. Is everything okay? An internalized thought here, but sometimes your internal thought doesn't match what you say. Okay, so to keep with Cecilia's thoughts, I suggest tucking it like right before there, because you're saying I typed. So right before there, kind of the same thing. All right, here we go. So he suggests going stag. Okay, so she's going to go to this thing. I kind of want her internal thought and her reasoning as to why she's going to go. For Kelvin's sake, I agreed. So in order for us to get behind her going for Kelvin's sake, we don't want to give Kelvin's whole backstory and life story and all that, but like, why should she go for Kelvin's sake? What is it her thought about Kelvin? Like, oh, I can't back out on my friend now. I can't leave them stranded. Or I can't leave them to have to deal with Lucinda over in communications, who's still, maybe she's flirting with him. Maybe Lucinda's flirting with him and he's not interested or something. You get the idea. I can't abandon him to, oh shoot, I promised Kelvin I'd go with him. I can't abandon him to Lucinda. And then quickly I'm like, you're right back on track. So it doesn't have to be long. It can be like one line of, oh my gosh, I forgot all about this. I cannot leave him. I promised I would, something very short and very reasonable that keeps your reader right in the belief. And I kind of get it, but it comes off cold. Like, okay, you've got it down, right? You've got the action, but it comes off a little cold. So to keep us close to Cecilia and empathizing with her and rolling along in total belief and support of her choices and actions, which you have on point, okay? I just want that internal reasoning. Before I left, I knocked on the door to 303 one more time. And at the restaurant, I kept checking my phone and ducking away to try her number every hour or so, even though it no longer rang and my calls went straight to voicemail. Okay, so now we've got her asking a bunch of questions. And we do have spiraling thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to try it and then see how we feel about it. I want it to feel close. So I don't know. Let's just see what we've got. For Kelvin's sake, I agreed. Before I left, I knocked on the door to 303 one more time. And at the restaurant, I kept checking my phone and ducking away to try her number every hour or so, even though it no longer rang and my calls went straight to voicemail. Had something happened to Felicia? It says did something. I kind of want it to be like, had something happened? I mean, did something is perfectly correct. So we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. Did something happen to Felicia? Did she mistake my insecurity for rejection and do something rash? Or put herself in harm's way, distraught over my refusal to out our relationship? Why didn't I stay with her last night? Why didn't I tell her what she wanted to hear? Okay. So as our thoughts spiral, they don't tend to be long. A lot of times they're very short. Okay. As she's got her calls going straight to voicemail, I want an internal sensation. Some kind of feeling. But here's the other thing. I might not need it because if you give it to me in the other places I asked for it prior, then I'll still be very caught up close to Cecilia and I might not need it here, if that makes sense. Deciding where the sensation is needed kind of goes along with the context surrounding it. So I might not have to have it here because if you've given it to me in the other two places I asked for it. So I'm going to pretend that I had it. I had the sensations. And so did something happen to Felicia? Had we already thought this? Did we think this earlier? We had two questions back before. I really messed things up. Would she ever forgive me? And was Felicia mad at me? Was she okay? Okay. There's a lot of questions in here. Let's see. We could easily change them to statements and use the questions sparingly so that it's not overdone. How about this? Oh my God, I hope nothing has happened to her. So that's a thought. It's a period ending thought instead of a question. Did she mistake my insecurity for rejection? Okay, so, oh my God, had something happened to her? Or I hope nothing happened to her. I hope that argument, I hope it wasn't forever. What if she mistook my insecurity for rejection? Keep it short. This could be almost telling or leading or suggesting. I would kind of omit that part and keep it short. Try to make them statements if you can. So I'm not telling you to take them out. I'm telling you to work with them. You might keep them short. Try to make them statements instead of questions. And here's the thing: by doing that, you're making her internal thought very tight, very very close. And the reason I'm really pushing for that is because this is an intense situation, and the intensity is growing in it, and it's dire. We know that. Let's see. I could keep changing them, but I kind of want to leave it for you to do. I don't think you're going to have a hard time doing that. So keep what they say, just kind of rephrase it to be a statement, and you're going to find that when you do that, it's going to feel super close to the reader. Like it's going to be the intensity is going to grow for you. It's going to be there. I could do it. I could take it and do it, but I don't want to mess with it too much. Let's see. Did she mistake my insecurity for rejection? I hope she didn't mistake my insecurities for rejection. What if she did something rash? So see, I'm interchanging a statement or a thought for a question. So like, yes, there was a question at the end, but there was a statement preceding it. And then one thought led to another thought, if that makes sense. Would she ever put herself in harm's way? She'd never do that. No, there's no way. So then you have yourself rationalizing. So because that's part of the things we do. We have a thought, and then we pick apart the thought and we rationalize it. Why didn't I stay with her last night? And this could be, I should have stayed. I should have stayed. I should have told her I should have told her what she wanted to hear, and everything would be fine, and this wouldn't be happening right now. See? So now I'm changing it from questions to thoughts, and those thoughts are building an urgency. What's really going on? Kelvin asked when we stepped away from the bigger group. Felicia isn't answering my calls or texts. I don't know where she is. See? So you got, and I don't know where she is. It's perfectly fine. We're going to keep going. She's more than a friend, isn't she? It's okay. You can tell me. His black eyes widened and sparked with curiosity. My cheeks burned. She is. He nodded with no hint of surprise. As much as I wanted to share the burden of what happened last night with someone, I didn't want to feed the office gossip mill. Even if I said nothing, my demeanor gave away too much, and I had better go home and knock on Felicia's door again. I set down my barely drunk cocktail. I should go. I'm leaving too. Kelvin finished his drink in one gulp. We exited the restaurant and I walked home, with the harbor tower still lighting my way in purple, but the North Shore mountains even darker than last night. On the way, I called Kathy, my only sibling, lifelong confidant, and moral compass. She would know what to do. Hey, Cece. Her 6-month-old cooed in the background. Did I catch you at a bad time? Not at all. I'm just burping, Chrissy. What's up? I told her about last night, shocked and embarrassed at how callously I acted. It's been almost 24 hours, she said. I think you should call the police. Despite my alarm and the jab of pain in my chest, I acknowledged her advice as correct. Did Felicia go out last night after I walked out on her? Could she have needed fresh air and gone for a walk, only for someone to have attacked her? Okay, so here we are. We've got questions again. So let's see if we can make our questions into statements. You're really, really close here. I don't want you to get frustrated or discouraged. So you're really close. You've got it. You're in the right headspace. This is very easy. These are very easy things to suddenly, you're like so close. You're like 3/4 of the way right there. Felicia go out. Did Felicia go out last night after I walked out on her? So how about this? Instead of could, you could say maybe. She might have gone out. She might have gone out and gone for a walk to get some fresh air. What if something happened? What if someone attacked her? So let your thoughts be statements, and then let that statement spiral a bit, and then make it be another statement. Basically make your questions sparing and tucked in between. Let's see. Maybe Felicia went out after our fight. Maybe Felicia went out after our fight. I mean, I would have used some fresh air and gone for a walk. Could our argument left her so distracted that someone could have hurt her? What if she was attacked? What was her sister's name? Kathy. Kathy's right. I do need to call the police. Despite the late hour, I walked out into the hallway and knocked one more time on her door. She had to be inside. She had to be safe. If something happened to her, I could never forgive myself. Good job. See, there you go. You got it. This is it right here. What you're doing right here, we're going to just change those little questions up above to be statements just like this. Good job. Please let her be safe and sound in her apartment. Even if she kicked me out and called me names, I just needed reassurance that she was fine and no harm had come to her. Heart galloping in my throat. Good job. You got it. Now you got it. You found your groove. I used my copy of her key and let myself in. Something I hadn't done before without her knowledge and hated doing now, but I feared the worst. I switched on the lights and walked toward the turquoise love seat as I had last night. The starburst clock on the wall showed minutes past 10 rather than midnight, and candles no longer burned on the coffee table. My memories of last night overwhelmed me. Like a movie, the scene replayed in my head as though I had been an actor playing a role, performing actions and saying lines scripted for me by someone else, someone unknown, someone uncaring. Last night, I didn't stop to think about the repercussions of my words and gestures. I should have told her I, too, wanted to spend the rest of my life with her, even if I wasn't sure, even if I later went back on my words. I wiped the tears, blurring my vision, and walked through the washroom and the kitchen, finding nothing amiss, but also no clue of where she went and what she did after I left. A pillow lay on the hardwood floor by her bed, and the comforter lay crumpled against the headboard. She hated having her bed unmade and wouldn't have left it that way. At least that told me Felicia had slept here. But where was she? This is reading really well, and I want to keep going, but at the same time, I also had like a reader thought towards Cecilia right here, where she's like, she's saying, I should have told her everything she wanted to hear, even if I went back on my words later. I don't entirely, as a person, I don't agree with that. I think that her honesty was fine, and I think that she was doing the right thing and being honest with her, but maybe she could have coddled her more a little bit, talked more and tried to comfort her more rather than trying to up and leave. However, those are reader personal thoughts. I see, as a writer, I see Cecilia as this being part of her personality. If you look at star signs, if you look at people's zodiac signs, a lot of times there'll be traits, and just some people are like that. Like some people are a little more distant, and they're not coddly like that. And I kind of get that from Cecilia. So her actions totally lend, it matches her personality type is kind of what I'm getting from this. And I understand, at the later point, her trying to be like, oh, if I get to go back and do it again, I'd just tell her whatever she wanted to hear because, she's feeling regret. So I get her thoughts. I'm just having reader thoughts too, which is good, which means I'm caring about your character. So that's good news. Okay, where are we? On the nightstand, a framed photograph of a freckled girl with braided hair and a smoky-faced cat, Felicia, age 9, and her beloved Ursulette drew more tears from my eyes. I let my body slide to the floor, brought her pillow to my face, and inhaled whatever was left of her. Curled up against her bed, I sobbed bitter tears of regret. Okay, so that actually reads a little bit telling. And the part that's making it telling is bitter tears of regret. So, curled up against her bed, I sobbed. Just let it be. Let it be. So just take that part out. And here, I don't want you to say whatever was left of her, because right now Cecilia is losing hope, but she's still holding out hope. Honestly, I feel like when people are missing, some part of you knows what's happened, but at the same time, you always hold out hope even until they found them, or. So I kind of want right here to say, brought her pillow to my face and inhaled maybe her scent and swap out her scent here. Curled up against her bed, I sobbed. There you go. So omit this part and swap this out for whatever Felicia smells like. Back in my apartment, I called the police and reported her missing. Then I dialed the long distance number I had for her parents. It would be morning there. And feeling rotten inside, introduced myself as her next door neighbor. Ooh. I'm feeling for Cecilia right there. An accented male replied, I'm Ovidiu, Anton's assistant. Is Felicia okay? He sounded so concerned and earnest, or maybe I was so weighed down by guilt that I told him everything and burst into tears. I'm not usually like this, I added between sobs. It's okay, Cecilia, don't worry. Felicia told us about you. Let's figure out what to do. I wiped my face and took a deep breath. Okay. But neither logic nor optimism got us very far, and I couldn't have imagined what would happen next. If only I could have changed everything that happened the last night I saw her. Okay, so your writing is really good. It's very clear. It's very clear. You're very close here. You're so close. I feel like just some really small things. I can see some of the differences. Like some of the details have been added. I can see where you were aiming for the spiraling thoughts, and you're very, very close. Just flip them to statements, and then you've got it. You've got it. And I really like this chapter, and I care about Cecilia, and I care about Felicia. So it's good. It's good. All right. Super close. Super, super close. I'm excited for you. And honestly, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to look at this again, because you can compare the first read to this read. And then this read also presented an opportunity to show how we can build on something. So you've got your spiraling thoughts, you've added the thoughts, and now we realize that the thoughts need to be statements to build the intensity there and to not be leading or telling. So very good. Thank you so much for letting me read for you, and I will see you guys next time on Mystery Road Reads.